With America's 250th anniversary on the horizon, how can we spark nationwide engagement in the celebration? In afternoon remarks, former U.S. Treasurer Rosie Rios, now leading America 250, shares her vision for commemorating the 250th anniversary of America's founding next year. Reflecting on her own journey growing up as one of 9 children in Hayward, California, Rios hopes that the 250th celebrations won't just honor the past, but inspire future generations to dream big, consider public service, and contribute to America's ongoing story. Next, Patricia DeStacy Harrison, President and CEO of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, emphasizes that civic readiness is as vital as military readiness, and that public media plays a crucial role in engaging citizens of all ages. Drawing on the words of Fred Rogers, "Won't you be my neighbor?" she reminds us that civic engagement begins in our own communities, and the time to act is now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please go ahead and enjoy your lunch. I'm one of 9 kids, so this is Thanksgiving dinner for me. So please go on, continue. So I am here representing America 250. We are the Congressional Commission, nonpartisan, bipartisan, all-partisan, that's been charged by Congress to lead the efforts to plan the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 487 days, I think, or 478 days. So here we are, the countdown begins. So I want to start by sharing with you, so by the way, who remembers the bicentennial of 1976? I do. I remember I was just turning 11 years old. I was just finishing up 5th grade. And by the way, I was born and raised in Hayward, California, just right across. Thank you. Thank you, Hayward people. Thank you. My parents came from Mexico in 1958, and they landed in Hayward, California because my dad was a seasonal migrant worker for the Hunt's Tomato Factory there in Hayward. That's where my parents decided to raise their family. My dad, who was abusive, ended up returning back to Mexico. My mom, who stayed in this great country to raise all 9 of us as a single parent and send all 9 of us off to college, is a testament to the American dream. Thank you. Thank you. So I remember the bicentennial like it was yesterday. I remember taking the field trip to the Oakland train station to see the Freedom Train. I remember seeing the tall ships on our black and white TV going through the Boston and New York harbors. And I remember more than anything, standing there the night of July 4th, 1976. It was a cloudy night in Hayward, California, but those fireworks were never brighter. I was standing there, watching the fireworks, thinking to myself that my mom, who gave us the best education possible through our village, which was the Catholic Church, we were all 9 of us in parochial school, and I never felt anything but pride and patriotism and hope for the future, that my mom made the best choice for us to pursue our own American dream. And growing up in Hayward, which by the way is 20 miles away from here, Stanford was Mecca. Stanford was like our escape here. So coming back here to talk about the 250th was amazing. I did end up going to Harvard, by the way, and ironically, I was Harvard's student representative for their 350th anniversary in 1986. So to stand here today saying that I am the chair of this 24-member congressional commission that's planning the activities of the 250th anniversary is such a privilege and an honor. And thank you, Louise, for inviting me here to speak to you all today. We take civics education very, very seriously. Our goal as a commission, our number one goal, 3 goals, is to educate, engage, and unite this country. We are shooting for 350 million Americans to be engaged in this process, what I call 350 for 250. Who else can make that declaration? It's not just happening here in our country. It's also happening with our military bases, with our embassies overseas. And we launched our programming efforts officially with a program called America's Field Trip. If you heard about this program, this is one that came in the middle of the night as an idea to me. It's a national student competition for grades 3 through 12 who get to answer the question, what does America mean to me? If you go to our website, america250.org, you'll see everything on it. We launched it as a pilot program last March. We received thousands of submissions. But here's the beauty of America's Field Trip. The award recipients get to choose from a series of backstage experiences, most of which have never been offered to the public, with our federal agencies. So if we did this as a pilot, we started the field trips last summer. I participated in many of them. Let me just give you an example of one of these field trips. It wasn't just a tour of the Statue of Liberty. These kids took a private boat, a National Park Service boat, from Manhattan Island to Liberty Island. They got into the Crown, which doesn't happen on the public tour. They walked the hallowed halls of Ellis Island when no one else was there. They were hosted for lunch by the CEO of BNY Mellon, Robin Vince. We got into the markets room, the trading floor, the cybersecurity command center. We ended the day at the New York Federal Reserve, getting an overview of monetary policy, and got into deep storage. I remember this young girl who came up to me and she said, "I feel like I won the golden ticket, but this is much better than Willy Wonka." For many of those kids, it was a first time on a plane, first time out of their state, first time on a family vacation, probably the first time they ever thought about a career in finance or a career in public service. That is just the beginning of this journey. This is not a moment. This is a movement, and our programming is intended to inspire this next generation and hopefully not just teach them about our history, but also inspire them to think about their future. This is just the beginning of this journey. We know that this country did not begin and end in 1776. 12 years later was the journey to the ratification of the Constitution. A year after that is when George Washington became president in 1789. Our governance, being the oldest democracy in the world, has a very large responsibility. How many countries cite our founding documents to form their own government? And by the way, there's also a global platform here. In the same year as 2026 is the World Cup. We are partnering very closely with FIFA. And of course, 2 years later, the LA Olympics. You will have billions of people from all over the world watching the U.S. in those 2 very short years. Let's start today. America250.org. Much more to come. Thank you for having me.
Well, Rosie is a force of nature. Let's welcome her again. That's an incredible undertaking, and public media is very, very proud to be part of the 250th celebration. Good afternoon. I took a good look at all of you. Okay. You look great. It's great for me to be here in Palo Alto. I'm from Washington, D.C., so it's great for me to be anywhere. I want to thank Louise Dubé for her dynamic leadership of iCivics. Louise, where are you? Somewhere. Okay. Out there. And also great appreciation to the Hoover Center for hosting this essential national forum, underscoring the connection between informed rising generations through civic learning, and that connection is to a strong, vibrant democracy. And I really think now more than ever, there is a renewed momentum for a national commitment for civics education. And it's beginning to feel like a real understanding why this needs to be a priority for the nation. This is my thought, that civic readiness is as important as military readiness, with each citizen understanding their rights, but also their responsibilities to protect and strengthen our basic freedoms. And CPB is very proud to be a sponsor of this important forum and the work of iCivics. Our work in public media aligns with your mission. And I hope all of you know this, that public media is on air, online, and importantly, in every community in America, rural and urban, and now I have to say red state and blue states. And really, you all know this. It's in the community where civics really comes alive. We provide local and national content that informs and educates, lifelong learning, but the important part about it is we're trusted to tell the truth. That trust is very important to us. We do enhance the civic health of the communities we serve. And I can give you a lot of examples like Boston, GBH. They're connecting with middle and high school students, the digital generation, in a way that makes civics real to them. It's not just, when you hear that word civics, I don't know about all of you, it was the class I skipped most of all in high school. So I find it very ironic I'm up here talking about it. On City Island, maybe some of you had seen that. The one thing we watched, our board was watching Sesame Workshops. It's called Together We Can. And it's a musical series of 20 live action videos. And this is for ages 4 to 5 about our Constitution and voting and participating. And You have to watch these videos just to see this 8-year-old girl dancing and singing as Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's quite an experience. Through compelling content, innovative technology on platforms of their choice, and that's important. We have to go where the kids are, not ask them to come where we are. Our youngest citizens really have the opportunity to engage with history, to understand in a kinetic way the role they can play as part of we the people, to make it real for them. And let me put this in what I would say is public media terms. Look at this audience. I think you'll know the answer to this. Do you remember when Fred Rogers would ask his audience of very young children the same question every day? You know what that question was? This side of the room gets the prize. The rest of you, I don't know what you were watching. It was, won't you be my neighbor? And Rogers was talking to far more than an audience of children. He was talking to all of us about a bigger, more inclusive definition of the word neighbor. And it lies at the heart of who we strive to be. We don't always make it, but who we strive to be as Americans in a great democracy, helping one another without requiring a litmus test of any kind. Now, perhaps that sounds naive as we look at today how divided we are, but we've been divided before. 50 years ago, and I could have taken any point in history, but let's go back 50 years ago. President Ford spoke about America in his time as a nation stumbling through the darkness of hatred and divisiveness. And he said, at some point, at every crisis in our history, eventually, there's that word, eventually, the American people become aware that if our democracy is going to thrive, if America is truly going to remain the land of the free and move in the direction of that more perfect union, we have to reclaim our role as active citizens. And the proof points are all around us today, even as all the headlines and we're told how divided we are. Here in California, for example, those were active citizens helping one another throughout the LA fires. But in addition to neighbors helping neighbors, emergency workers, firemen came from so many other states volunteering their support. People throughout the country sent clothes and food and funds. And there's so many of these stories happening every single day beyond man-made or natural disasters. And what public media wants to do is share these stories as part of the semi-quincentennial in 2026. So public media stations, radio and television, nationwide, are going to be participating in an initiative we're calling America's Civic Spark, How the Good Gets Done. Inspired by John Bridgeland and More Perfect, funded by CPB and led by PBS SoCal in Southern California, local public television and radio stations are going to be interviewing people of all ages, very short videos, and really just asking them, why do you volunteer? What do you do for this community? And what you're going to be surprised at seeing, and I have to say I was in the initial videos and stories, it's not a stereotypical vision of who volunteers. The person you disagree with politically, who you would never even think in your mind is doing something great, is coaching Little League or being a mentor to a high school student. And at the end of all these videos, what you see is a country that when we have to come together in the right way, they understand what democracy means, and it means getting involved. They are the people who are getting the good done. So our thought is, as we collate and correlate all of these videos and show them nationally, we can inspire a new generation of active citizens. And I believe the time is right, and the time is now. It's the only time we have, so get busy. Thank you. Thank you for all you've done.